Hello everybody, it's me and my beautiful wife Kara, and let's do this. Alright, go ahead.
Okay, so this is Exodus 31:15-17. 6 days may work be done, but in the seventh is the Sabbath of rest, holy to Yah. Whosoever does any work in the Sabbath day, he shall surely be put to death. Therefore the children of Israel shall keep the Sabbath, to observe the Sabbath throughout their generations.
That's right.
For a perpetual covenant. It is a sign between me and the children of Israel forever.
Right now, if you're grafted in, you're a child of Israel.
That's right.
Because you're grafted into one of the 12 tribes. And so, when it says it's a sign between me and our Father, or our Father and us forever. So go ahead.
Yeah. I want to interject too.
Mm-hmm.
I was raised that I was a Gentile. And the thing is the Hebrew word for Gentile is goy, or plural would be goyim. And it means of the nations. You're either grafted in, according to Romans 11, into the nation of Israel, just like Ruth was. Rahab, she was grafted in. She was Canaanite. Ruth was Moabitess. And they were grafted into Israel because they left their identity, right, of being foreigners, and they said, we're going to be Israel. And it's the same with us. Yeshua is the King of Israel. We're either of the nations, out in the nations, or we are part of Israel. With that understanding, then we realize that all the words that Yah gave to Israel apply to us because we are Israel.
That's right.
Yeah. This is Ezekiel 20, starting verse 20. Keep my Sabbaths holy, that they may be a sign between us.
Mm-hmm.
Then you will know that I am the Lord your God. But the children rebelled against me. They did not follow my decrees. They were not careful to keep my laws, of which I said, the person who obeys them will live by them. And they desecrated my Sabbaths. So I said I would pour out my wrath on them and spend my anger against them in the wilderness. He's just basically saying that because they desecrated the Sabbath, they were judged for it. Ezekiel 20:19-20. I am the Lord your God. Follow my decrees and be careful to keep my laws.
Yeah.
Keep my Sabbaths holy, that they may be a sign between us. Then you will know that I am the Lord your God. If you keep your feet from breaking the Sabbath, this is Isaiah 58:13-14, and from doing as you please on my holy day, if you call the Sabbath a delight and the Lord's holy day honorable, and if you honor it not by going your own way and not doing as you please or speaking idle words, then you will find your joy in the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
And I will cause you to ride in triumph on the heights of the land and to feast on the inheritance of your father Jacob, for the mouth of the Lord has spoken. Hebrews 4 is all about the Sabbath rest, if you want to get the whole context.
Yes.
So we're doing verses 9 and 10. There remains then a Sabbath rest for the people of Yah. For anyone who enters Yah's rest also rests from their works.
Mm-hmm.
Work, y'all. Just as Yah did from his.
That's right. After he delivered me and I returned to him, or stepped back on that straight and narrow path, the first thing he did, even before I knew to keep Torah, was he said, keep my Sabbaths.
Yeah.
And that's the first thing I did. I started, getting on Facebook explaining how important his Sabbaths are. Sabbath breaks down to the word Shabuah in Hebrew, and Shabuah literally means oath or covenant. And then the number 7 in Hebrew, if I remember this right, is Sheba.
Mm-hmm.
And Sheba means to seven oneself. So when you read this together, you must seven oneself. So it could be as serious as oath and covenant breaker.
And to seven oneself just means to set yourself apart on the seventh day.
Yeah, keeping his seventh day. In Israel, the days are just numbers, except for
And in
one
many
day.
languages too.
Except for one day, and that's the Sabbath. Saturday really comes from the word Sabbath.
Yeah, it doesn't come from Saturnalia.
Yeah, and
Or Saturn.
of course you're going to see that, the enemy wants you to think that. This is why the Catholic Church They changed the Sabbath from Saturday to Sunday, the first day of the week, instead of the seventh. And they would not have done that if Saturday wasn't the real Sabbath. For those who don't know, when you keep his Torah, because a lot of times Paul is saying, you hear him say that if you're under the law, you're doomed. Especially when he's talking to those who said, if that circumcision alone we can make it to heaven. He's not saying not to keep the law. What he's saying is these people who were saying circumcision alone, they're saying that we don't need no Messiah. All we need is the Torah alone and we're good. And he told them, if you think you can keep Torah without our Messiah, without Yeshua, without Jesus, then you're doomed. If we do anything without him, we are doomed. So when we keep the law, we keep it with him. So if you're under the law, you're keeping it without our Messiah. That's the whole part that's hard to understand. If you think you're over the law, then you're lawless. You're not keeping it at all. So what are we? If we're not under or over, we follow the living and breathing Torah, our Messiah. We follow him. And because he's our king, we enforce his law out of love, not out of condemnation. So this is what it means. He took the curse of the law on the tree, but that's only for those who believe in our Messiah. If you do not believe in Yeshua, then guess what? You're under the whole law, because if you don't believe in him, the whole law still applies. This is why Jesus said that not one jot or tittle will be removed from the law until heaven and earth pass away.
That's in Matthew 5.
Yes. So what's he mean? Because those of us, who believe in Yeshua, we don't have to sacrifice anymore like we used to in the old law. He's saying those who do not believe in me are still under the whole law. And if you're under the whole law, you're still doomed, because the only name under heaven we can be saved is the name of our Messiah, Jesus, or Yeshua, or Yahusha, or Yahushua. There's different names people use, but he still respects all the names because we're praying to him. Our Father knows, our Messiah knows when we're praying through him to our Father. So with that, we'll say the special words, and let's do this. Love y'all so much.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.